Joseph came from a very large family, but not a happy and united one. The Bible's portrait of Jacob's family stands as vivid proof of the negative effects of polygamy, an entrenched practice that God tolerated among his people until his son restored the original standard of monogamy. Jacob had at least 14 children by 4 different women, his 2 wives, Leah and Rachel, and their maidservants, Zilpah and Bilhah. From the start, Jacob was in love with his beautiful Rachel. He never felt such an attachment to Leah, Rachel's older sister, whom he had been tricked into marrying. A bitter rivalry persisted between the 2 women, and that jealousy carried over to the children of the household. Rachel was barren for a long time, and when she finally gave birth to Joseph, Jacob treated this son of his old age as special. Later, young Joseph faced tragedy firsthand when the dearest person in his young life left him all too soon. His mother died while giving birth to his younger brother, Benjamin. Imagine Jacob gently wiping the tears from Joseph's eyes, comforting him with the same hope that had once comforted Jacob's grandfather Abraham. How touched Joseph must have been to learn that Jehovah would one day restore his mother to life. Perhaps Joseph came to have even deeper love for the generous God of the living. In the wake of the loss of his wife, Jacob always had tender feelings for those 2 boys, his sons by Rachel. At the age of 17, he was working as a shepherd, assisting some of his older brothers, when he noticed some wrongdoing on their part. He reported the matter to his father. Perhaps that brave act confirmed Jacob's high opinion of this beloved son. We can also take a lesson from Joseph's family life. While true Christians today are free from the practice of polygamy, there are nonetheless many blended families among them, with stepparents, stepchildren, and step-siblings. All can learn from Jacob's family that favoritism and partiality undermine family unity. Jealousy takes root. Perhaps because of Joseph's courageous stand for what was right, Jacob bestowed an honor on the boy. He had a special garment made for his son. Joseph must have been touched by this sign of his father's regard and affection. But that garment would bring him a great deal of trouble. How would this sign of Jacob's special favor affect Joseph's relationship with his brothers? The Bible answers, when his brothers saw that their father loved him more than all his brothers, they began to hate him, and they could not speak peaceably to him. Their jealousy may be understandable, but Joseph's brothers were unwise to give in to that poisonous emotion. Their jealousy led them to commit deeds that they would come to regret deeply. Their example serves to remind Christians that it is far wiser to rejoice with those who rejoice. Like Joseph's special robe, the conduct of true Christians makes them different from those around them. Such conduct sometimes incites jealousy and animosity. It was not long before Joseph had 2 extraordinary dreams. In the first dream, Joseph saw himself and his brothers, each binding a sheaf of grain. But then his brothers' sheaves encircled his sheaf and bowed down to it as it stood erect. In the second dream, the sun, the moon, and 11 stars were bowing down to Joseph. The dreams came from Jehovah God. They were prophetic in nature, and God meant for Joseph to pass along the message they contained. In a sense, Joseph was to do what all the later prophets did when they related God's messages and judgments to his wayward people. Joseph tactfully said to his brothers, "Please listen to this dream that I had." His brothers understood the dream, and they did not like it one bit. They answered, "Are you really going to make yourself king over us and dominate us?" The account adds, so they found another reason to hate him, because of his dreams and what he said. When Joseph related the second dream to his father as well as his brothers, the reaction was not much better. We read, his father rebuked him and said to him, "What is the meaning of this dream of yours? Am I as well as your mother and your brothers really going to come and bow down to the earth to you?" However, Jacob kept thinking the matter over. Joseph was neither the first nor the last servant of Jehovah to be asked to relay a prophetic message that would prove to be unpopular and even lead to persecution. Jesus was the greatest of such message bearers, and he told his followers, "If they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you." Christians of all ages may learn much from the faith and courage of young Joseph. Not long afterward, Jacob sent young Joseph on a journey. The older sons were tending the flocks up north near Shechem, where they had recently made bitter enemies. Naturally, Jacob was concerned about his sons, so he sent Joseph to check on their welfare. When his brothers saw him coming from a distance, immediately their hatred boiled to the surface. The account reads, "They said to one another, 'Look, here comes that dreamer. Come, now, let us kill him and pitch him into one of the water pits, and we will say that a vicious wild animal devoured him. Then let us see what will become of his dreams.'" Reuben, however, persuaded his brothers to throw Joseph into a pit alive, hoping that he could rescue the boy later on. His brothers attacked him. Roughly, they stripped off his special robe, dragged him to a dried-out water pit, and pushed him in. Down Joseph fell. Callously, they ate a meal nearby. While Reuben was absent, they again considered killing the boy, but Judah persuaded them to sell him to passing merchants instead. Before Reuben returned, the deed was done. For 20 shekels, they had sold their brother as a slave. As Joseph was taken south along the road to Egypt, he seemed to have lost everything. For years, he would know nothing of his family. But was Joseph left with nothing at all? Joseph still had something that his brothers could never take from him: faith. He knew much about his God, Jehovah, and nothing could rob him of that, not the loss of his home, not the hardships of captivity on the long journey to Egypt, and not even the humiliation of being sold as a slave to a wealthy Egyptian named Potiphar. Joseph's faith and his determination to stay close to his God only grew stronger through such hardships. If you enjoyed this content, please subscribe to this channel, hit that like button, leave your comments below and share it with your friends. Thanks for watching. God bless.